Everyone, and welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard garden. What are we up to? Back on Kermit. Looking good with the paint. I'm really happy with the colour match. Look back on the previous video, you see it on the bike. It is really good. It now needs its clear coat. So, after a little bit of framing, let's get on with it, shall we? And I'll go and get the clear coat. Right, cheers! So this is the stuff I use. So, Pro XL 2K Clear, so it's two parts. So it is hardener as well as paint. And it's also pretty petrol resistant. Yeah, I wouldn't say petrol proof. I don't think there's any such thing really, but it's really petrol resistant. It lets you get away with a lot. And excuse my dodgy throat this morning. The way it does that is, you see at the bottom there's a little tag. In the bottom of the cap there's a little like ring pull affair, which you poke through like so. Pull it out. Give it a decent twist, good 360, and that is the hardener inside mixing. Now it needs a bloody good shake. It does say for at least 2 minutes, so let's give it a go. Right, just while I'm shaking that, what else has gone on? Had a brilliant time last night with the show. Thanks for those that wish me the best for it. The kids did really well, really well. Really good. Midland's elated. He's got another one this afternoon and this evening. Fish and chips on the way home. Brill. Nice, simple family night. Now I've been slightly abandoned today, which is a bit strange for me, because the missus and the youngest have gone to Legoland for the day. We went years ago, but she missed out because she was the tiny one, and it came up in conversation, and the missus spotted a deal, so they're off on a girly day, which is quite nice. I've just dropped my eldest round a mate's house, so that's him out. Midland goes to his show in an hour or so, which leaves me home alone, which never happens. No idea what I'm going to do. Probably just tinker with bikes with no guilt for once, which is an unusual experience for me. Right, so good couple of minutes worth of shaking. What you should do with the painted surface is go over it with a tack cloth. But I haven't got any of them, as usual. Ill-equipped for what I'm doing. So that was painted yesterday. Left to settle for the evening. Then in the evening I brought it inside into our, sounds very posh, laundry room. It sounds very posh. It's also been my office for a long period of time over this whole lockdown bit. So yeah, it's nice and warm in there. So I just wanted that to cure off as much as I could, and that is perfectly bone dry now. So I'm well happy with that. There's no smell to it at all. It's not reacting at all. So let's get on, shall we? Oh, you will also notice that I put the decals on. I'm going to have to dig out a link for that and put it in the bottom, because it's really good product. So the issue with decals that I normally have is not the backing material, but the topping material. The material you put it on with is quite often overly adhesive. So you put it on, and as you peel, there's a risk of it grabbing the paint underneath. It's probably because I was doing it too quickly as well, but this stuff just went on and came off beautifully, absolutely beautifully. So, all nicely stuck. I am going to get a cloth, that's nicely mixed. I'm just going to get a cloth and give it a quick wipe over before we get that on. So back in the warm, now it's all agitated, and I'll get a cloth. Right, so before we get going, 2K clear coat. In the oldie days, and I'm talking before the Health and Safety at Work Act, this stuff was only used by professionals because it's got some nasty shit in it in the hardener. Now, that meant that it was only in a paint form, i.e. not a paint can form, and it was horrible shit. Don't get me wrong, it's still not great stuff, but it is considerably safer than was. So people that get concerned over 2K clearing for a home mechanic, it's not the same stuff. In a similar way to the likes of Nitromors, used to be able to strip paint in 3 seconds while you were staring at it, and it doesn't anymore because it's had a lot of the nasty stuff taken out of it because of environmental concerns. Ditto with this stuff. So it's nasty shit, but it's not as bad as once was. I love my sign there, but the wind's going to blow it off. Right, so what? I am outside, I am in the fresh air, but I am going to use my mask. I know people have said concerns before over, is it the right one for what you're using? But frankly, it's got to be better than nothing. Now the slight problem is, I don't know if you can hear me when I'm doing this. So, let's go for a bit of dust coat. Lady, away, away, go on, away. Dipstick. Right, dust coats. So, nice and gentle. Not trying to lay it down hard. I will speak up because I don't know what the volume's like on this. It'll probably sound like Mickey Mouse. Literally drizzling it on. Right, so dust coat 1 done. Oh, I sound like Darth Vader doing that. And dust coat 1 done. So what? Just need to let it tack off. So 5-10 minutes, just to let it dry off enough. Because what you're trying to do is create an adhesive surface for the subsequent levels afterwards. A few points in addressing bits and pieces from others. Once I've sprayed that one layer, I don't then invert the can and spray till it's clear. I don't think you need to for the period that you're leaving it for. If you're leaving it for hours between coats, or indeed days, which I wouldn't suggest you want to do, then yeah, do it. But there's no requirement to turn it over and invert after each coat, I don't think. And I've yet to have a nozzle block over such a short period of time. So just put it back in the water, keep it warm, and by warm, it's bath temperature. It doesn't need to be boiling, it just needs to be enough. So I'm just going to let that cure for 5 minutes and then jump you back in. Right, so that's 5, let's give it another dust. I'm not sure if you can pick it up, but it's starting to get a bit of a shine already, which is nice. Which is really nice. Right, 5 minutes, 3rd dust coat. Right, good 5 minutes there. most of it trying to stop the dog from rolling around in fox shit. Right, that'll do. I'm going to give that a little bit longer. I'm going to give that 10 minutes because I want a cup of tea. Right, wet coat time. Starts getting serious. Just dry off my aerosol. Right, so starting to overlap. So I've got, this is a directional directional attachment. So that's horizontal, which means it's going vertical. I can adjust the size of the spray, but actually I'm quite happy with where it is. So just sweeping it in the fan direction that it's on, overlapping. Trying as much as I can to keep it even, following the same pattern as I did yesterday, i.e. sweeps on the back, sweeps on the front. Never shake the can over your paint. Get any drips, it'll land on it. So it's still keeping the can moving at some pace, but it's slower than it was before. More of a sweeping motion now. And your aim is to be slightly mechanical in your approach, i.e. sweep, 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 sweep. Slightly mechanical. Right, that is coat one of as many as I can get out of that can. So personally, my view is 3 dust coats, 3 wet coats. But you get what you can out of the can. Because it's 2-part and it's mixed, it won't last. So it will eventually harden in the can. It did say on the label how soon you need to use it after mixing, but frankly, that's a 500 milliliter can. That's enough to do a good sized tank like this. It's quite a large surface area. Yeah, so when it came, I didn't put that much of the colour on there. I just used whatever I had in the can. I would have liked, 100% hindsight, I would have liked a little bit more, but I think that's enough. So I'm going to give that a good 5 to 10, finish drinking my tea and do another one. Right, wet coat 2. That'll do. There's still loads left in that. Probably can't hear me. There's still loads left in that. So that's two coats in. If I just try and hoik you up, and you see what you're starting to get. So it's starting to get some good coverage. Well, thank you, son. It's nice of you to come out there. Give me a really bad shadow. It's starting to get there and looking good. Now obviously if you're open air sprayer like me, you deal with what you can deal with. It is windy today, but at least it ain't raining. So yeah, it's starting to get there and looking good. Looking like quite a good thick gloss. Right, so let's give that another 10. Right, I quite like this new technique of a blank sheet on the top rather than my borrowing Charlie's ball gag technique, because it gives me a surface that I can check how dry it is. It's a little bit tacky, so I'm going to go again. Yeah, without touching the metal. which obviously you don't want to do. Go through a lot of work for a half decent paint job, and then suddenly you've got your dabs all over it. Right, so that's what, excuse me, that's what wet 3 done. Right, so wet coat, what, 4? Right, and again, possibly the last one. Now, looking at it, it's looking good on the back. I think the top needs a bit more. So, oops, a bit wet. And I'm yeah, so you can't concentrate where you're spraying because that's how you get runs. But what you can do is just visit the bits that you think need it more when you start getting towards the dregs. There's some weird dots and pits in that, that's strange. But hey, the beauties of outdoor painting is smeg flying around in the air. Most of which will just rub out, it's fine. Oh, fuck off leaves. I always end up painting on the windiest days. Right, I think that'll do me for now. Probably got another half coat left in that can. I'll try that again. I've probably got another half coat left in that can. So let's have to see how it goes. I'm going to let that dry off and then do another pass on those bits that are a little bit ropier than the others. Right, let's see what I can drag out the last of that can. It's feeling very light. I don't want to be spraying the dregs because it starts to sputter and you wreck your nice surface by being cheap and trying to squeeze the last out of it. See how we go. Oh. Right, that's the last of that bad boy. Now I will happily admit I've lost count of how many coats I've done on that. I think it's around 5 or 6, but I'll put the proper number there. Let's give you a bit of a closer look. So what is the end result of your endeavours now? Sorry, this is banging against my microphone. I'm probably making a racket. Let's just get that off. There we go. Right. So it's looking pretty good. Oh, my shadow's in the way there. Nice thick coat. Looking good. Right. I've been really quite lucky with all the crap floating around in the wind here. I would normally refuse to touch wet paint, but I need to make the most of not getting told off for having stinky paint in the house by the missus, and just drop that in the kitchen to dry or to start to cure. Yeah. Right, so there we go. The safest place to leave a tank, in my humble opinion, is on a big thing with wheels that's designed to carry it. That colour match is awesome. It really is. Yeah, look at that. Right, so that's going to take I mean, by the can it's, what does it say, 24 hours till it's machine polishable. I'm going to leave that for at least 48, probably 72 hours, so maybe in the middle of the week have at that, which will be the next video, and I will film how I do what I do. I'll never say it's a how-to, but how I do what I do to get that to a better condition. I mean, it looks fab, but as soon as you get close, you see the orange peel. There you go. Perfect view of orange peel. That's fine. It's, you know, whenever you do this, do not be concerned about it. It will polish out. It just takes a little bit of time, effort, and it's entirely doable. Right, so that's looking pretty sweet. Really is starting to look the dogs. Yeah, happy with that. That'll do me for the day, I think. I'm just about to be on my own in the house, which is rare. So I'm going to jump on a bike. It's all too easy to get used to fixing bikes and then forget the reason that you do it. The reason you do it is for the freedom of just hoiking around on a bike. Find somewhere quiet and just clear your mind. Not that that generally takes a long time for me. My mind is pretty clear at the best of times, but that's precisely what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put this away, put Kermit away, leave him to sort himself out over time. I'm going to drag Kit out, surprise the arse off him because he's used to just being hoiked to work and back, and take him out for some fun. So that'll do me for another weekend. Thanks very much for watching all. Any comments, please chuck them down the bottom. Subscriber count's climbing quite nicely. It's brilliant. Hope you're enjoying it. Cheers all. Ta-da.